Alright, so Shane asked tips for increasing left hand speed. Yes, and I'm gonna assume here that you mean legato, so hammer-ons and pull-offs. Basically, if you're like most people, you have 4 fingers on the fretboard, and you can divide those 4 fingers into 6 groups of 2. So you get 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, and then 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4. And then you get 4 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4. And then you got one big group of 4, right? And they feel kind of different from each other. So if you mainly play like a pentatonic type of phrase with legato, that feels different to me than playing 3 notes per string, for example. So, and the same goes with the 4 finger one. So I like to divide them like this, like I just did, and practice them individually. And getting better at, the 2 finger ones will help all the other ones, and vice versa. So it's a good idea to work on all 3 groups. And as far as practicing these groups, for the 2 finger ones, you do trills. I think it's a good idea to do that with a slightly more exact and more challenging timing thing, instead of just sitting around doing it as fast as possible. So these are, you got 2 notes, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But if you do that in groups of 3 instead, the click the timing, so your foot, your metronome, whatever, it's actually gonna hit on different fingers each time. So if you would just do 8 notes, it would always be on the finger that you start on. So it would be like this, and that becomes kind of predictable after a while, and it can be easy to lose both interest in it and also lose your concentration. So you may be sitting there and not even noticing that your legato is kind of uneven. So the solution to that is to do it in triplets instead. So you go like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You really have to focus, because then the click is going to be on this note and then that note, or whatever finger combination you're using. So 1, 3, for example. And I would practice that around that tempo if that's feels okay for you. So you can keep the relaxation in the left hand and really focus on the timing and having each note sounding as good as possible. And of course you want to do this all over the fretboard, not just here. So you can move it around. Usually though, I do it in a more sort of systematic fashion, so I would start down here or down here, and then just go. So hopefully you get the idea. So I go through all 6 combinations with this idea, basically doing them twice usually. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So and when I mean twice, I go through the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So having each finger hitting the downbeat twice. So it actually ends up being more than 2 trills, but hopefully you get what I mean. And do that for each finger group. Then just move that up to the next string, and then once I get up here, I usually move it up to the next 4 finger section, because if you have a lot of time and you really want to work on this, you can do it on every fret. But I feel it's sufficient to cover the guitar when it comes to exercises like these by right, so I'm covering the entire guitar just by going 4 frets at a time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 13, 17, and then this is kind of hard, what to do. So I don't know how beneficial that is, but you can, can work on that as well if you want, but I usually stop at around 17. If you want to add more, I would probably go up to 19. That's more practical. So I do that with all these combinations. Then I do the same thing with the 3-finger groups. And for the 3-finger groups, I use this type of pattern. I'm going 1, 2, 3, right? So that's, you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And I would just do ascending and descending first. So I would just go. But I wouldn't do it in triplets here, because, you know, that would just end up having the beat on this finger the whole time, like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. I'd rather do it in groups of 4 then, so I get the beat to move around again. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get back to the first one again. So that would be right, and then go to 1, 2, 4. And so on, and then just turn it around. Once you're done here, you do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and then you maybe just turn it around right where you are, and just go. So same thing, just going backwards, and repeat the same procedure. Start down here, cover all this, the frets, or all these 4-finger positions, and then you do the same thing with the last group, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just 1 fingering. So, and in this case, since this is a duple pattern, meaning it's based on groups of 2, I use the opposite, so to speak, subdivision. So I would do a group of 3 to get this moving beat effect, if that makes sense. So I would do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And this actually, since it's 1 note less, groups of 3 instead of 4, the beat is actually, it's not going to go in order like it did with the previous ones. It's actually going to go sort of backwards. So I'm going to start here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. But it's still going to take you 4 repetitions before it turns around again. So. And then do that on every string, and then turn that around. So. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Right? All the way up, all the way, well, you can go back if you want as well. And that's, if you do that at a really controlled tempo, and you really feel that your timing is on point as much as possible, I think you'll find that your speed is just going to increase by itself. And I think that's the better way of trying to increase speed, by actually not going in the opposite direction, but actually just building that control, because they've actually done studies on this on piano players, you know, classically trained piano players and regular people, where they have them like sit around doing this, and they measure the difference in speed, and they found that the difference in just flopping your fingers around like this were pretty much the same for most people. But the big difference with the classically trained people was that they could actually control the fingers rhythmically when they did that, which the regular folks just flopping around couldn't do. So when it comes to guitar speed in general, it's not about moving your fingers faster. It's more about building that control. And you see that a lot in sweep picking, right? Because if I do something like this, that's actually, you know, the speed at which you would sweep. It's not that fast. So it's not hard to do this. you know. And so really, if you look at it from that perspective, when it comes to like sweep picking, it's not really about developing any, you know, faster movements. It's more about controlling this rhythmically, and that's what trips people up. So it's not necessarily that, you know, raw speed type of thing. So and you know, I'm sure there's exceptions to that with people who have some trouble with stiff fingers or whatever, but I think that for most people it's just about building control. And even if you have problems with stiff fingers or whatever, I think this will actually help you more than trying to just push the speed too far. And in general, for me, when it comes to technical stuff, it's all about the control. And once you build the control, you'll find that the speed is not, you know, that big of a deal after a while. But the big thing is getting that control in the first hand. Right? So hopefully this helps, and at least give it a few days and try this sort of routine out. And if you still have problems or I misunderstood the question somehow, just, you know, reach out to me here and I'll try to help you out. All right? So thanks again, and see you in the next one.